Venezuelan foreign minister, he's an ardent Maduro loyalist. He took offense to President Trump's remarks about how the U.S. is thriving. He's taking to Twitter. In one tweet, he wrote, "Here's the truth." Trump leads about this tweet reading Donald Trump claims that the economy is booming. Is this what a booming economy looks like? 78% of workers living paycheck to paycheck. More than 50% can't afford to save anything at all. A quarter of workers say they couldn't make ends meet last month. Joining me now is the Heritage Foundation and economic freedom expert, James Roberts. James, what's your reaction to this?
Well, apparently the Venezuelan foreign minister hasn't studied the results of the annual Heritage Foundation Index of Economic Freedom. We just launched the 2019 edition at heritage.org/index, and the results for Venezuela and the United States are poles apart. The U.S. this year turned around after a decade of falling scores and led Western Hemisphere countries with higher score and ranking, and reflecting the positive impact of tax reform and the Trump administration's efforts to deregulate the American economy. Meanwhile, in Venezuela, for the 15th year in a row, the ranking was at the very bottom of the index. In fact, the only country in the world where there's less repression of economic freedom is in North Korea. So I don't think that the foreign minister is at all on base. In fact, President Trump was right to point out in the State of the Union that Venezuela is the 21st century poster child, warning for where socialism inevitably leads, which is to starvation, lack of medicines, brutal control by a corrupt elite, and desperation. In fact, Chavez, Maduro, and their cronies have looted more than $300 billion from the Venezuelan people over the last 20 years. So those are things that the Venezuelan foreign minister apparently doesn't want to talk about.
Well, he didn't tweet about it at all, sir. You know, in 2008, Hugo Chavez spoke to members of the international media about the benefits of socialism. Sir, he said Venezuelan socialism will not become tyrannical like Russia. What do you make of that comment?
I think that was just the typical blowing smoke that Hugo Chavez was famous for, and did much more smoothly than his former bus driver successor, Nicolas Maduro. But the reality is that these countries are in desperate straits, especially now Venezuela, where they've even blocked assistance at the border from Colombia of humanitarian food and medicine because they don't want to lose control. But in fact, it's a complete bogus allegation that socialism was going to lead somewhere good. It's always led somewhere bad throughout history, and Venezuela is the most recent case. In fact, probably the most calamitous collapse of an economy in the history of the world.
And so rapid, too. James Roberts of the Heritage Foundation, thank you so much, sir.